The spectre of fascism looms large over Italy as a country and a culture, and its cinema has always seemed unable to entirely escape its influence somehow. For World War II, and years prior since Mussolini had come to power, filmmakers were creatively asphyxiated by the state. But in the years after World War II, filmmakers such as Roberto Rossellini, who had been hitherto constrained to make fascist propaganda, such as The White Ship, released a series of anti-fascist neorealist films, beginning with Rome Open City in 1945, and followed by Paysanne in 1946, and Germany Year Zero in 1948. Rossellini's films depict a lawless and violent Italy, left ravaged in the wake of fascism and struggling to get back on its feet. Rossellini and other filmmakers active in the post-war neorealist movement, such as Vittorio De Sica and Luchino Visconti, celebrated their newfound liberation, making films with resolutely socialist anti-fascist themes. The Conformist, Bernardo Bertolucci's harshly expressionist masterpiece, depicts the subtle influence of fascism in Italian society through its mise-en-scène. Visually, the movie is informed by the German expressionist films of the 1920s, most noticeably Fritz Lang's Metropolis and its depiction of a dystopian totalitarian nightmare society. Bertolucci and his cinematographer Vittorio Storaro depict fascist Italy as a rigid, icy world of hard lines and bureaucracy. Our protagonist, Marcello Clerici, goes to visit his beautiful and vivacious fiancée, and we see her apartment, everything about which is designed to connote a cage, right down to the lines on her dress, as through every aspect of her environment, even the very clothes on her back, were trying to stifle and suppress her. Everyone in the film is trapped in some way. Marcello's fiancée in her gilded cage of an apartment, Marcello's father in a sanatorium, Marcello's mother in the decaying grandeur of her old-world mansion, and most of all Marcello himself, who despite his desperate desire for normalcy, to conform, is never truly able to. He's trapped in a kind of vortex of his own making. And yet there are still moments of grace in the film, as if it's occasionally possible to catch fleeting glimpses of the magnificence of the Italy of old. Pier Paolo Pasolini's 1975 film Salo, or The 120 Days of Sodom, a modern retelling of the infamous novel by French writer and philosopher Marquis de Sade, is essentially the most savage indictment on fascism imaginable. A film set in the dying days of Mussolini's Italy, in which 4 wealthy libertines kidnap a number of Italian youth and submit them to 120 days of unspeakable degradation and atrocities. It's a brute force metaphor from an avowedly Marxist filmmaker, in which sexual and physical abuse function as representations of the evils done to Italy and her people under years of fascist rule, and possibly the definitive cinematic depiction of the trauma fascism leaves in its wake. Italy's fascist years left scars on a country still very much visible today, as national trauma like that so often is. It's a unique combination of pain and guilt Italian filmmakers continue to revisit and struggle to reckon with.